Says I'm live. I didn't even know I can go live, but that shows how long I made a video. Okay, so hello everybody. Uh, I haven't done a video in a while, so it looks like I'm live. So I'm kind of on the spot here. I ain't prepared nothing. Usually when I watch a live video, people, they have a topic or what they're gonna talk about. I just decided to try to make a video, and I saw that I can go live. Oh well, let me figure something out. So, hey everybody, this is Hustleborn. I started my channel about 10 years ago now. It's been about 10 years since I first got into the rideshare thing with Uber. Yeah, it's been 10 years already. I did my first one in 2015. I don't remember the month for sure. I think it was June, somewhere around May, June. But the only thing I'm doing now is DoorDash. I started DoorDash 2 years ago, 2023. Now, when I first signed up, I wasn't approved right away. It took about a year to get approved. So this is all I've been doing ever since. I signed up for Grubhub. They approved me, but I never did an order or anything. So after a while, they took me off. I had to reapply. But DoorDash it's been okay. It could be better. The pay should be better, but the weekends it could get pretty good sometime. But the problem with DoorDash is some orders I know they should pay more than $2. I think what it is, it looks like they be counting on people to tip, but they should pay according to the mileage, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would agree with that. They should pay according to the mileage. We should get paid a certain amount per mile, regardless of what the tip is. It should be a law that they can't even see our tip. But sometimes I know for a fact they're paying their portion too low. But means that the customer might tip good on that order. Yeah, like for example, I might get paid $13 on an order. When I look at the breakdown, which I just found out I can do a few months ago, DoorDash, sometimes they only input $2 and the customer tipped $11. They're probably looking at it like, okay, they tipped this amount. As far as we know, DoorDash should just take what they want and pay us what they want. It shouldn't be like that. That's not how it should go. But I think that's what they be doing sometimes. So I know some customers, some DoorDashers, they probably say that DoorDash cheats us sometime out of tip. Yeah. In so many words, I would say they don't pay us what we should get paid. They don't pay us their proper portion. It just because somebody tips good doesn't mean they should say, okay, we're just going to pay $2. No, shouldn't be like that. They shouldn't even see our tip. That's one thing I liked about Postmates. It seemed like no matter how good the tip was, they still paid us a certain amount per mile. So one thing I can say is, like, when it comes to getting paid from DoorDash, it's certain things that's a factor. And one of those factors is the restaurant you pick up at. Sometimes they contribute to how my day goes. For example, like if I go to McDonald's and the order is ready right away when I get there, that's good. I can make my money quicker. But then there's times when I go, I might have to wait for 10 minutes. I try not to wait that long now, It's good to ask them how long you think it's going to be. If they say it can be 15 minutes, I just leave. I unassign it and I leave. When it's real busy, especially. On a light day, I might stay. Just depends on how much the order is. If it's a $20 order, I probably wait for it, especially if it's a slow day. But when it's real busy, and depending on where the order is going as well, like if it's going far, and they say the order might not be ready for another 20 minutes, I might say okay and unassign it. I don't say no, I don't argue with them or anything like that. I just say okay, no problem, and I'm out the door. I unassign it. Like some people, I be thinking, they must be new. I've seen people come in and they say, "Oh, I'm sorry, we're kind of busy. The order might not be done until 20 minutes." And they be like, "Oh boy, I don't feel like waiting 20 minutes." Me, I don't do all of that. When they tell me that, I say, "Okay, you have a nice day," and I'm out. I'm gone. Especially when it's real busy. I know I'm going to get another order, and sometimes, in most cases, I got a better order. It might not have paid as much sometimes, but it might be closer. I mean, the distance between a restaurant and a house might be a shorter distance, which I can get a couple of orders in that time. So the restaurant definitely plays a role. I will say it's not like it used to be. Customer service, it sucks now. Because I would go somewhere sometime, I'm not a person that likes to go to these restaurants. They'd be like, yo, excuse me, be yelling over them, try to get their attention. But I go there sometimes, and I test them. I be in McDonald's, and everybody seems so busy, they won't even look at me. They won't even look at the counter. Drivers be standing there waiting, and they would not look. Which, I understand you're busy, but what happened to the times where you walk in a restaurant or an establishment, somebody is behind a cash register. Hello, can I take your order? Welcome to McDonald's, can I take your order? And you get your order taken. Now you can go in these restaurants and nobody be behind a cash register. And they are like, you're invisible. Nobody want to say anything. At least come to me and say, hello, you waiting for an order? You here for pickup? Something. Like, they just be acting like you're invisible. Nobody want to work. These young people nowadays, they don't want to work. They think you're supposed to just give them everything. But also, nobody wants to pay either. Everybody want to go up on everything, but nobody wants to pay. But you kids though, when you're in school, you don't have no bills. You don't have any bills yet. A lot of young people, they don't even want to work, try to save any money. Like when you're young in high school, you don't have any bills yet. 9 times out of 10, you don't have bills. You can save money. Y'all don't want to work. A lot of y'all still don't want to work. Then you go to work and you want to play. You play too much. It's frustrating to see the youth act like that sometimes. Like, and they blame it on the parents. It ain't always the parents. I think it's the weed. Like, they're disrespectful. And I'm just rambling, y'all. I'm just rambling. I guess I'm live. I hope I'm not doing all this talking for no reason. But it says I'm live. I didn't know I can go live. So I'm kind of rambling right now. I'm just talking. I haven't made a video in a while. But I hope I can upload this because I don't have a haircut. I didn't really prepare for this. I need a haircut. Ooh. Well, yeah, but you young people, man, y'all need to get more spunk. There's other things to life besides smoking weed. All y'all want to do is smoke weed, and y'all think that's fun. Y'all think that's the only fun. But I will say, as a society, it's when I was young, we had things we can do. We had game rooms, we had skating rinks, bowling. Like where the game rooms at? They closed. I know we got all this technology now, but I'm pretty sure we would still go to the game room if they had them, the arcade. I know people would still go because for what it looks like, nobody wants to be home because no matter where I go now, there's always traffic. No matter what time of the day it is, there's always traffic. I be looking at these people like, where are y'all going? Where you going? A lot of my childhood memories that I can remember, I was home or I was in a house at cookouts, parties. Do people even do that anymore? Do people stay home or watch movies? Do they cook? Have family time? You know, what era are we in now? There's too many people on the road in my way when I'm trying to make these deliveries. Really. It's like it's not even rush hour anymore. You can't tell what is rush hour. The traffic during the week is about as bad as traffic on the weekend now, or maybe worse. You know, there's a time where you can say, oh, it's rush hour. People are going to work or people getting off from work. Now it's like all day. It's traffic. Depending on where you live at, it's all day now. Can't even tell rush hour from regular traffic any now. Sometimes the weekend traffic is better than the weekday traffic. So since I'm live here, I guess I'm look at this. I'm over here, I'm parked by myself, and there's a truck that pulled up. He's parked sideways. Yeah, he's parked sideways next to me. I guess because he's a truck, he don't want to park in a regular spot. Yeah, I'm sitting here alone because I knew I was gonna like make a video. I didn't know I was gonna go live, but I was gonna try to make some type of video. But what was I saying? I think I done lost my train of thought, and I can't go back. Can't go back because this is live, so I can't even edit or delete this. But and first of all, I would like to give everybody, all you content creators, people that does YouTube as a living, as their main source of income, I give y'all props. For real, I give y'all props. Because this ain't easy, man. It ain't easy. First of all, I'm not really a good talker. I'm not, when it comes to giving speeches or talking, that's not really my thing, man. That's why I don't have as many videos. Because first of all, what am I going to talk about? How am I going to start talking? How am I going to start it off? So people, you people that do this every day as a living, y'all get a lot of respect. I give y'all props. Okay, let me send my mom a text because I was just DoorDashing. I'm in North Carolina. I'm not home. I'm not in Jersey. I'm down here in North Carolina visiting my parents, and I decided let me DoorDash a little bit. I only did 2. And it's getting dark. When down here, I don't DoorDash when it gets dark. Yeah, so let me text her real quick because it's about to be dark. And I told her, when it start getting dark, I'm going to head back to the house. Yep. So while we on the subject of DoorDash, that's the only thing I do. So that's really the only thing I can talk about right now. Mostly is DoorDash. So who's DoorDashing in 2025? So again, DoorDash, could you make a living off of it? I think you could. Where I live at, I can make a living off of it if I did it full time. But it's not like I don't make the money as fast as when I was an Uber driver. I'm trying to find. You see, when I'm trying to do something fast, I can never do it. Yeah, people might wonder, could you make a living off of it? I think I could, but after what happened with me with Uber a few years ago, I don't want to quit my job because then I see what if something happened with DoorDash? DoorDash, one thing I like about them, they're not as careless as Uber. Like they don't act like they don't care about their driver as much as Uber. I just think they're greedy. They want to keep all the money to themselves, but I think they treat us better than Uber. I mean, they do. Like, to me, they treat us better than Uber. Because far as with even with the ratings, they don't they're not really as strict with the rating. Your rating got to get very low. It's got to get low for them to consider deactivating you. And you know that you just gotta suck for that to happen. But I mean, I know some people that got kicked off. Oh, I guess I am live, so this is working. I see somebody came in, but I know some people that's got kicked off. But hold on, let me send this text real quick. Let me try to send this text. Okay. See what I'm trying to do it. I cannot find my mom's number. What's going on here? Now I know I text her. Oh, okay. I gotta. That's because I'm trying to do it too fast. Okay, let me send her a text. I'm at Food Line parking lot making a video. Period. I'll be home soon. No, let me see. I'll be back soon. Okay, let me get back to what I was saying. All right, so let me talk about DoorDash. All right. So yeah, I mentioned earlier, I just started doing it 2 years ago, back in March. You know, and as far as the money goes, as I was saying, where I live at, I could make a living off of it. Like if I get up early in the morning, like it's a job, and I can set my limit to 200 a day. I think I can make 200 a day. I won't make it as fast as I did with Uber, but it could be done. And on a weekend, especially if you do the weekend, you can make pretty good on a weekend because people tend. I get bigger tips on the weekend. But it also depends on when you start. Just because I start at 9 instead of 10, it doesn't mean I'm going to make more money. Sometimes it's a matter of being in the right spot. And you do put wear and tear in your car. I mean, that's just a given. So that's another reason why I feel like DoorDash should make sure they pay better on their end. Now, in case I forgot to mention earlier, DoorDash, they pay us as if they're depending on you as a customer to tip. Which I don't think they should do that. I think they should pay us a certain amount per mile, depending on how far the house is. Sometimes I get an order, let's say it might pay $10. It's probably going 5 miles. They'd be slick. They'd throw in another order that's for $3 extra, and it's going farther than the first drop-off order. But they're thinking, okay, well, we paying them 10 and we're gonna give them an extra 3. That's how they're looking at it. They're not looking at it as 2 individual orders, which they should. But they figuring, oh well, they're gonna be happy with the $13. Which sometimes, I am happy, but why just pay us good enough? Pay us good. We putting wear and tear on our car. We're gonna have to get our car serviced. That's what you should look at. But you could make a living. You can make a living off of it. If that's all you're doing. If you live in a big city, you could definitely do good. You could do okay to survive. And what was up? Something else I wanna mention while I'm thinking about it. A lot of drivers, they get upset when the customer doesn't tip. Oh, 1 second. I'm not a talker. My throat get dry quick when I'm talking like this. I don't agree with us drivers getting upset with the customer. If they don't tip, they just don't tip. Somebody else is gonna tip. I'm more upset with DoorDash because when they don't pay us their portion. It should never be a $2 order. If the house is right across the street from the restaurant, okay, I understand. If it's $2, then okay, I understand. It's right across the street. But even then, it shouldn't be because you still got to drive to the restaurant. That's another part you got to take into consideration. You got to drive. We have to drive to the restaurant to pick up your order. So it should never be $2. I think at a minimum, the way the cost of living is now, it should be $4 minimum. Shouldn't be lower than $4. When I was doing Postmates years ago in Jersey City, it was a minimum $4. And that was reasonable. I had no complaints with that. I miss Postmates. I miss them because they didn't seem like they screwed us over. If they did, I didn't know it. But DoorDash, DoorDash. Sometimes y'all, I had an order for BJ's one time, and it was a big order, and it was only $2. I took it because I figured, okay, it's only $2, but maybe they're going to tip. They didn't tip, so I picked all that stuff up for $2. So I took a gamble. But there's certain restaurants, like a lot of Chinese restaurants, the Chinese and Vietnamese spots. Most of the time, they the good tipping. When people order for them restaurants, they tip pretty good. But now I don't think it's right. We shouldn't get mad at the customer. If they don't tip, that's on them. They just don't tip. You get your blessing when you give. But I don't get mad at the customer for not tipping. DoorDash need to up their pay. That's the way I feel. So I think I went over everything. I didn't think that I was going to be able to go live. I didn't know I can go live. So I'm just talking right now. I'm really like talking off the top of my head right now. I'm just trying to think of what I could think of right now. I think I mentioned everything. I think I went over everything. But yeah, right now, DoorDash is the only thing I'm doing when it comes to the gig apps. I signed up for Spark, but of course, in my area, they said they got too many drivers. They're not accepting any drivers. But this was probably like almost a year ago. So I might try again because people say that that's a good one too. So yeah, right now, DoorDash is the only thing I'm doing aside from my regular job. And honestly, sometimes I want to quit my regular job because, I like to drive. I like being outdoors, but I don't want to take a chance yet. Like I said, Uber, they screwed me over years ago. I was on Uber full time, making decent money, and I got deactivated, got kicked off. So I'm glad people started suing them. That's good for them. They need to get sued. You shouldn't do people like that because this guy said he bought like a fleet of cars and got kicked off the app. Like, that's not good. And me, I almost got homeless. I didn't mention it then, but they almost made me homeless. That was my only source of income. They almost made me homeless. I can say it now because it's been years ago, but back then I didn't mention it. I didn't even want people to know. But yeah, it was a mess. Like I see how rich people, you wonder how rich people get broke so fast because rich people, when you got a mansion, you got like 4 Mercedes, a boat, a helicopter, and all of a sudden you lose your job or you lose whatever you're doing, that's a lot of bills. You get a couple of months of paying them bills and no job. In a year, you're broke. I mean, lucky for me, I'm just a regular person. But that opened my eyes. I said, this is how rich people become broke and end up jumping out a window. So I think I went over everything. Let me see if I can think of something else, because I'm about to get on off of here. About to head back to the house. So, yeah, I think that's it. I'm just learning how to use this. So let me see. Let me play these buttons over here. Uh-oh, what did I just do? Oh boy. How do I take that green off? Oh. Oh boy. Guess I wasn't supposed to play these buttons, huh? All right, I guess I better end this live because I'm doing some things. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, I'm gonna go. Whew. How do I even end this thing? All right, so anyway, as always, everybody, let's get it.